Okay, so up next we have the two Julians. Here you go, guys.
Two Julian. Thank you. So there is two mics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Let's go. Okay. Okay, super. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I see you guys. Perfect. Let me check first for the slides. Yeah, we got them. Let's play back. Perfect. So here it starts. So really happy to see you here. We only have 20 minutes, so we're going to jump almost right into the subject. We won't talk much about us, but at least here is Julien-David, managing partner of Iris. If you want to know JD a little bit more, he was on these two podcasts, which are great podcasts, by the way. So you will know more about JD, right? So he's the managing partner of Iris, and why Iris is important is that they know what is a billion-dollar company in terms of exit, right? Real money, DPI, as we say, not paper money like unicorn, right? So before we start, some context, a little bit. The question, does anyone knows the answer of this question? In France, how many did an exit above $1 billion? VC-backed. Not an easy question, right? So we got 300 approximately, right, in the US, only 300 companies for the past 20 years, okay? And in Europe, 55, which is, not a lot. Okay, my slides are a little bit broken, but doesn't matter. The thing is that Iris managed to have 3 of them, okay, which is a lot. And then we have our friend from LII, Exchange, Ventec, Razeo, who managed to have at least 1. So in France, we had 3 exits, which were Kiriba, Iris, managed to put some money into it. We had Believe and Criteo, so 3 exits above 1 billion. The point is that, so this company is not a French company, it's from Germany. And what we like to do here is to tell you, show you what is all about to get to a 1 billion exit or above, right? And this man here is the man who was the witness of such a great outcome, okay? That's why I wanted to invite JD to talk about that. And LeanIX, it's right into the subject. It's a great SaaS B2B company. So we're going to try to get as much information as we can, okay? So acquired for 1.2 billion, bravo. And yeah, we'll start straight away. So are you ready, JD?
I am.
Okay.
Sit, because
thanks.
I'm already small.
So like we said, we're not going to talk about you. We don't have much time. We want, and everyone wants to know about LeanIX and SAP. What does, LeanIX, what they do? What's their product, strategy, and stuff?
So first of all, thank you for hosting me, and you've said a lot of things. I don't have many things to do. Typically an exit, it's a founder, Andre Christ, who created LeanIX. We invested, we accompanied, but most of the success comes from the entrepreneur. So, we're lucky. But so perhaps moving back to your question. So I thought it was interesting to talk about LeanIX here because this is B2B Rocks. And I think this is the typical playbook of a B2B company. So LeanIX, for those who don't know it, I'm sure there are many of you, it's a SaaS company that was created in 2014 by two founders, Jörg and André, who were working together at DHL. They were IT managers. And so we're in 2014. We don't have AI. Great speech before, by the way. Thank you. We don't have UiPath. We don't have BPM, business process mining. We don't. Basically, we have ERPs to manage a lot of tasks. We have core technology, core software. And when you're an enterprise, you're deploying a lot of B2B applications out of your enterprise. Because, hey, it makes sense. This is good. We should do that. You do sometimes RFQs, but so you don't have a strategy. You have needs. 2014, you start establishing RFQs to compare solutions. It's not a highly competitive market. It's growing. And once you've deployed that, so you've got the software you took. There's a recurring money. Sometimes you receive calls for an update. In a year from now, you're going to have to renew. If you're lucky enough, the company that you chose will actually ask you to renew. But so you don't have a lot of monitoring. And for them, they were IT managers, and they were like, there are so many applications on the market that we use, and we don't manage them. We just know the email, or we have an Excel spreadsheet to manage that. So perhaps we should do a SaaS that allows us to audit and register all the applications that we have in our organization, where they are, how you renew them. So when I say this is anti-sexy. I mean, what's genius about what I told you? And that was my first feeling when I met André and Jörg. It's just, it made sense. It was smart. But yeah, so what? So they were good. The deal was very small. It was in Germany. It was 2014. It was less than 1 million round. We just invested because it seemed like a good SaaS. But where it becomes interesting, to move back to your question, is this is a SaaS that pretty much applied everything that you read in any book. Not that they read them, just they did it. So they were growing 10% month over month. They were looking for the right customers, making sure that their customers would be happily deployed, enhancing the number of seats because they were enhancing the number of applications they were monitoring. They made sure to speak at the right fairs, to be visible. And it just grew. Just like a SaaS grows, you do marketing, you have personas that you target, IT managers, business units with application deployments, and you go through the round. And the pricing makes it so that the bigger you get, the bigger the contract.
So they were IT guys with like sales-driven attitude.
Not even sales, just
they learn
practically
fast.
SaaS. SaaS is not really being sales dedicated, it's being usage dedicated. Hey, you're that person, you have that issue, let me tell you about this. I'm sure you're doing it through Excel because that's what I was doing. Yeah, that's right. But so you have no visibility. If you have to update, you don't know how to organize your update plan. You put some missions at risk because of critical failure or critical update of your applications at the wrong time. SAP issuing an alert that they're going to update the whole system the day you have a precise need for a, I don't know, major audit. So yeah, we're just going to monitor this for you, which comes on top of many things that have developed over the past 10 years. Capacity to cluster applications and business process, capacity to get the data and the logs to automate business process, BPM, UiPath, etc. So they just came to clean your room before you do anything that relates to your applications.
But like at the beginning, it wasn't that. Like when you, so the first time you met André Christ, tell us a little bit where he was, you know, the feeling, and actually what was the first demo you see of the product? Because I guess he wasn't like...
So I met him through partners. So we were working a lot with a German fund, and the story is that the founder of this fund was a tennis training partner of André. So when André built something, he came to see Jörg naturally, and they were doing this SaaS thing, and me, I had just finished a SaaS business personally. I was joining VC, but I didn't know much about VC. It was like, you've done a SaaS company, come and see that. So I met André and Jörg, and they were smart. They were IT people, they were German, so very focused on, we have this issue, it's not managed, that's the product we've built, these are the first features, this is the roadmap. We did it at DHL. Look, DHL's a customer, and look, Zalando's actually considered using...
they had DHL already as a client.
Because they spun off, and they just used their thing to actually help the need that they saw. which applies to many of our portfolio companies, whichever you look at them, Shift, Exotech, etc. They were doing the business. They were facing the issue that they're willing to address.
Shift, Exotech are company you invested
in the portfolio early, and all of them, there were people coming from this market, doing that business and stating the issue. So I meet André, he says, well, I was managing IT for DHL, I was doing this and that operation, was not registered. Look at the SaaS I've built, it does this and that, was nicely developed. I'm not a product guy, it looks nice or not nice, so I'm definitely not a product guy. But I could see he had signed DHL, he was talking about interesting references, he had the right reflexes in terms of positioning the product, talking to the right persona. So that was SaaS. Meaning
it was really sophisticated, like the way he was talking about it was like
precise.
In-depth, right? And precise, right? Okay.
He had already identified a pain. He was talking with IT managers who'd be here and he would say, so right now I'm sure, how many applications do you have? I have that. How do you monitor them? I don't, why would I do that? And what do you do when this and that occurs? Didn't think about it. Yeah. So all the key elements of having a SaaS proposition, having a pain point that's identified, a persona that you want to speak to, and making sure they receive the message was there. So again, it was 2014. You wrote stuff about SaaS. You knew it could become big. There was already Zendesk and a couple of others. Just did not generalize it. So these guys just did what they had to do in a space, and it grew naturally. They came naturally with us to France. They started signing contracts everywhere. And it came just through an accrued growth month over month. SaaS, the beauty of it is, every month you see growth against the previous months. You see churn. So the maths at the beginning are not genius. It's just number of new accounts I have, number of new money I have, amount of money I've lost last month because they did not review, they stopped. Each month, am I positive? Am I neutral? Am I negative? How do I compensate for that? Am I losing a lot of money by people leaving? No. They use, and another thing with SaaS is, how much do they use the product in a year, in a day, in a month, in an hour? So you get this feedback, and for LeanIX, it was natural that people were using it.
Yeah, that was really sticky, or at least really useful inside those companies. So that was obvious with the metrics,
Absolutely.
right? And so we got 20 minutes, it's really short. So now, how they managed to get a 1.2 billion exit? I guess there is some entrepreneur here, and yeah, as I showed you, it's really rare to get this kind of exit. How they manage to seduce SAP? You told me before that an exit it doesn't come just like that. You have to build it. You have to really work on it. So what did LeanIX and André did for managing this amazing exit?
So, yeah, true. Exits, they're not romantic. It's not like, oh, I'm strategic, Google comes and buys us, which is the typical dream that everybody has when building a startup. So you build an exit. So how did they do that? Number one, quality of your asset. You grow with a certain rate of growth. They were able to reach 60, 70, 80%, 100% at the beginning. So you show that you have a growing thing. You have a thing that grows without buying that growth. So you burn less than you grow. That's the magic of it. There is something we often forget, is just if you have to burn twice to get once the growth, there's something wrong with your business. So naturally, they were extending account. And how do you grow? Because you acquire new customers, because they have virality in your market. Hey, I'm using this, you should try. But also because you upsell. And how do you upsell? Because you sell more seats. The usage of the solution gets generalized in your large accounts. But also because you build new features. You can do this and do that. You get enablers. First, we were detecting all the applications, making alerts, connecting it to other environments, SAP Marketplace, etc., to make sure that you connected at the moment you are embedding the applications, receiving all the notifications. So that's the sum of it. And against that, you look at the churn. The churn is the cancer of SaaS. So number one, you have the metrics that account for a healthy growth. Healthy growth is growing fast. You can burn money. The company's been raising a lot of money in its history. It's just if you stop burning, you don't stop growing. So you burn much less than you actually grow. And the truth is you burn less than you had planned. Each year, LeanIX burned less than what they had budgeted for, which is another sign. The second thing is you build a network of partners. Yeah, not everybody can buy you.
Like a lot of people say that, like, you have to have partnership, but sometimes for me, like I told you, it seems a bit BS, like bullshit, because what you do really in the partnership. A partnership should be like concrete. They should be like things to do in real life, I want to say. And what was this kind of partnership? I think that they started with Signavio, then they end up with SAP. Like there is something in there that I'm interested by.
So B2B SaaS, you have integrators. You have people selling to large enterprises that want to sell computers, they want to sell cloud, they want to sell integration. So these guys exist. And these guys have a mission, which is every year to sell new stuff to their customers. They're your partners. So number one, answering your question, for LeanIX, there was a network of partners, people who were actually either reselling the solution, getting a discount and margin, or people who are making use of the solution. Signavio was truly about preparation for BPM, so making sure your data set is all right, making sure that you're truly structured to be able to enable much more complex tools to be able to optimize your business. And the natural thing that these guys like Signavio needed to do since 2016, 2017 was having a clear view of what the applications are in your system. So they needed somebody to just clean the house.
Ally.
And that's
So
LeanIX.
it was really an ally. Like
Exactly.
Signavio needed something like LeanIX, and therefore.
So they had this partnership, and we had identified it because Signavio was financed by Summit Partners, with whom we're good friends. So we discussed that, and actually at the time, Signavio was like, they're such good partners, we should acquire them, we do good business. But LeanIX was like, why would I do that? They're going to be acquired one day by SAP, so if we have a great partnership, we'll have a great partnership with SAP. SAP is a great buyer, much better than you. So that was a strategy, which brings me back to the point.
So you were talking with Andre and board member, I guess, about this strategic part of the business.
Yes, I was not at the board.
Okay.
I had been at the board.
At the
point
beginning,
is,
yes.
we
then
were
yes.
discussing that because we had these opportunities. Each time the company got refinanced, we were discussing about opportunities. People came to us because the company was outstanding. But again, answering your first question is, you're going to do a business, but you're going to have to sell it or grow it. You don't have millions of potential candidates to help you grow your company or buy it. You only have a handful of people who are actually in the same space than you, sell something that is complementary to you, with whom selling together makes a lot of sense. These people are the people with whom you can develop the business, people who can actually make sense of the business you're developing, people who at some point can discuss with you getting bigger together. These are M&A possible conversations, partnership, but also acquisitions. And so in the case of LeanIX, they already knew from the start that the relationship with Signavio and SAP could make sense. And so they built that partnership in 2022. When I called Andre to get a couple of information, he was like, I can't answer now. I'm working at the partnership with SAP, and trust me, I work it in your interest. And the third thing, that's the last thing.
We'll come back to the interest of the VC because we forget sometimes about that. But
And the
Karen,
third
please.
thing, to answer your question, is once you have the partnership and a good business, you need to trigger the exit. So you need to talk with your partners, see there's a moment for maturity. When you want to sell something, the first rule is you're not selling, because otherwise you're cheaper. So you need to find the right momentum for people to say it makes sense, or to say we're considering several
Is
options.
it the right person, like as one individual, or
On
it's
SAP,
many
you can
of them?
imagine it's quite complex. So requires a mapping of the ecosystem, just like when you sell to your customer, which is a large account, you need to understand who's the decision taker, what are the drivers or budget for acquisition. SAP is a huge company. Every year they want to consolidate to further growth. And what they acquire, and that's my last point, the third one, what they acquire is very specific. They don't acquire things randomly. They acquire things that increase their footprint, generate synergies, but on the short term, that matches their growth expectations. Every year, SAP needs to show their shareholders they're growing by XYZ%. When they buy a company, they don't do it on, it's going to be genius. They're like, how much does this company grow? Is it slowing me down, accelerating my growth? Does it match my criteria? And how much does this company cost me, not only in acquisition, but EBITDA negativeness? If it's EBITDA negative, we're going to have to pour more money into it every year. So you need to have a profitability path. It's not something you need to show to VC right away. Right now the trend is to say I'm looking for profitable business. No, we're looking for businesses who know how to get profitable at some point in life.
And get, like, manage to be the winner of the category. Because I guess that LeanIX had competition and they managed to be maybe better than the other.
They created DAM, Enterprise Architecture Management. They created that category with Gartner, didn't exist, and rapidly
yeah,
Gardner
that's-
was
yeah.
like, hey, you're on top right.
Okay, so you have to be the leader, and quite interesting, like the fact that you say that you have to think of SAP as they need to grow because of their investors on the stock market, pretty much, and you have to be careful of what you bring to them, not just a product, but really the growth as well, which is kind of complex. We shall discuss about that maybe in a podcast or something like that, because I like to dig a bit more. I think this use case, it's quite big. We got 15 seconds left. What can we say? I wanted to talk with you about the billion-dollar company, like how important is in VC portfolio. But I guess that we'll have to do it the next time. But
We can say it shortly.
Yeah.
There's been a trend of talking about unicorns and other markets harder. Just to be clear, a billion-dollar company means one thing. It has proven that its technology can scale. It has proven that it can become a very solid, profitable international business. It doesn't require all the elements I've described, but for a company to be worth 1 billion and pursuing further valuations, it means that you're having a very large customer footprint, either in your country, which you provide cash from every year, you're extremely profitable and you're PE eligible, or international, highly growing, in that case you're either a PE candidate, Kiriba with a Bridgepoint, or an IPO candidate, Talent. All this to say, billion-dollar valuation is not, it's great, we've got a great VC, it's, we're playing in the next league, the League of International Companies.
thank you very much. So, as you see, was interesting to jump right into it. I go back to the slide. You meet again JD on those podcast, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julien.